Alright, so today I'm going to go ahead and take apart the dash on the 240. I'm just going to give y'all a little breakdown of what screws you need to take out off in order to get the dashboard removed, and what you really need to be careful. That way you won't go breaking stuff whenever you do try to get to some of these screws. Now, I know probably a little bit of the stuff wasn't mandatory to take off, but I went ahead and did it just for secondary precaution, because I'm just that type of person to go the extra stint. That way I won't mess anything up trying to get something apart. But let me see. So where I went ahead and started was, there's no way to me swap this camera around, but I started with the glove box. So whenever you first take the glove box off, there's two screws down here at the bottom. But I went ahead and I took it off because, yeah, I like to, whenever I record, I like to just go live, and then I don't really edit it. But there's a screw right here. It's my finger. There's a screw should be down there. Another screw over there. Unlock the glove box. Then you just got to bend in the sides of the glove box, like push them in a little bit, then the glove box will pull right out. Whenever you get done doing that, there's this other metal piece that goes around it. You're going to have to take that metal piece off. There's a screw right there, and then another one kind of in the same spot over there, and then another screw that's in the corner that goes right there. So whenever you take that off, there's the screws right here. If I'm showing it on my camera, hopefully I am. There's one right there, and then one over there, and then you gotta disconnect this light bulb back there too, and then you'll be able to pull that glove box out. So going over to the other side, kind of the same thing. You're gonna have to take the kick panel off down here at the bottom. It's pretty easy to take off. Let's see, I already put mine in the back, but there's just a couple screws that go across up top, and then another one that's kind of right there. You just have to pop this other side kick panel off to be able to get to it, which was pretty simple. Really the main tedious stuff that I did not want to break was the stuff around the dash itself, right here. It was all this stuff, like the buttons. Now whenever you take those buttons off, you have to be extremely careful, because I know with me, I did not want to break them buttons or pull them out, break the dash or anything like that. So whenever you take them off, this is a piece right here. Just keep in mind that there at the bottom, there's like a small little clip. So what I did is I got my flathead screwdriver. I kind of pried it in at the bottom, pushed up on it, slid out the bottom, then did the same thing up top. Put the flathead in there, pushed down, popped out. And just take your time with this, because they're real brittle. Because I know a lot of times that, just like the rest of the dash, it's all brittle. I mean, it's like a 20-year-old car, and yeah, man, just from sitting, man, it definitely will break. But this is where I'm currently at with the 240, as far as getting the dashboard ripped apart. The rest of the stuff was pretty simple, like having to take the centerpiece off right here for the armrest. Took all that off. There weren't really any main screws on there, just besides right here around the shifter column right here. There's two up top right there, then two more on the side, and then there's two sensors right here that go to the cigarette lighter. And then once you get all those taken off and the plug-ins popped out, you'll be able to rip that whole center console out. And then once you do that, that'll give you more access to actually ripping the rest of the center dash and the rest of the whole dashboard apart. But once I got done doing that, I went ahead and started with taking the stereo and stuff out. Now, in order to take the stereo out, there's 2 bolts down here at the bottom, and then depending on your car, I didn't have any bolts set up here, so it's just these 2 down here, and then the whole radio pops out. Just disconnect the radio from the back and just pull it out. And then now with the climate control, mine only had 3 screws, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You got 4 corners that screwed in, which are 1 right there, 2, 3, 4. Take those out, push this back, get that out the way, and then that's pretty much everything for getting the center console and all that stuff situated. So now then the rest of the stuff, that all I have to do is finish disconnecting the speedometer in the middle, and that's just a couple more screws, as well as taking out extra few more screws that actually support the dashboard in place. And then yeah, once you get all them screws taken out, just get ready to pull the dashboard out. The other screws that I forgot to mention were the ones up here for the windshield vents. Now, in order to get to those screws, you're gonna have to pop these vents off. Now, the way that I did it was I had a really small flathead screwdriver, just pretty tiny. Now, what I did with that is I wedged it in right here, but you are gonna have to start on that side though, because this side it's laid down first, and then that side it's laid down kind of on top of it. So you're gonna have to start on that side first, but whenever you did it, I started at the very end, popped it in there, kind of worked my way all the way down to the center, and then I went to the driver's side, did the same thing until I met them both kind of in the middle. And then that way, once you pop those vents off, there will be 3 screws, 1 on each side, the driver's side and the passenger side, and then 1 in the middle. You have to take those out in order to get the dashboard taken out also. And then that's pretty much everything, I believe. I don't think I left anything out. Just whenever you do take this off, you're gonna have to drop the steering column down some, like so. And taking the steering column, or dropping the steering column down, it's simple. There's just 2 screws, so go under here, and there's 2 screws. Let's see. All right, there we go. Well, anyways, if you can see, there's a screw on this side of the steering column, and then kind of 1 on the other side of the steering column, and then you got 2 more that's kind of on down by the brake pedal. And all 4 of those screws, they're a size 12, and you just have to loosen up the 2 all the way down by the brake pedal. Now you have to completely take out the other 2 screws that's on closer to the steering wheel, in order to get that whole steering column to drop down, or else you won't be able to remove this right there. And then once you do that, just pull it out, and then finish taking the rest of the screws out that's behind that, in order to take the tachometer out, and finish getting to the rest of the screws that hold the dashboard in itself. And yeah, I mean, once you do that, just wiggle the dashboard out and you'll be set to go.